everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into Martin Seligman's Flourish.
Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
You might already know Seligman from his work on happiness.
Yeah, he's kind of a big deal in that world, right?
He is. He's actually considered the founder of positive psychology as a field.
Wow.
But in Flourish, he actually takes things a step further.
Further than happiness.
Yeah.
Where do you even go from there?
Exactly. That's what I thought too. Think beyond happiness.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
It's about reaching a state of, well, flourishing. And he lays out a whole framework for how to get there.
Interesting.
It's called PERMA.
PERMA, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, lay it on me.
Well, we'll get to all the juicy details in a bit.
Can't wait.
But first, I think it's helpful to understand why Seligman made the shift from happiness to flourishing.
Yeah, what prompted that change?
I think he had a sort of aha moment.
What happened?
You see, in his earlier work, he focused a lot on treating mental illness and building happiness.
Right.
But then he realized something was missing.
Was that?
He started asking, what about those people who are already doing pretty well?
Interesting.
You know, they're not depressed, they have moments of happiness,
Sure.
but are they truly living a rich and fulfilling life?
Uh-huh. So it's not just about fixing what's broken.
Exactly.
It's about reaching your full potential, even if you're already doing okay.
You got it. And that's where PERMA comes in.
PERMA, huh? All right, break it down for me. What does it stand for?
Each letter represents a key element of well-being.
Okay, I'm listening.
We start with P for positive emotions.
Ah, the good stuff.
Right. This one's probably the most intuitive.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to feel joy and love and all that?
Exactly. It's about experiencing those good feelings.
But I have a feeling there's more to it than just feeling happy all the time.
You are so right. Positive emotions are important, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But there's just one piece of the puzzle.
Okay, so what's the next piece then?
That's where E for engagement comes in.
Engagement.
Have you ever gotten so absorbed in an activity that you completely lose track of time?
Oh yeah, totally. Happens to me all the time when I'm reading a good book.
For me, it's writing. I can get so caught up in the flow of words that hours just disappear.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
It's like you enter another dimension.
Exactly. And that's what Seligman calls flow. It's that state of complete absorption
Interesting.
where you're fully immersed in what you're doing, using your skills challenged just enough, and feeling a sense of energized focus.
I like it.
And according to Seligman, these moments of flow are essential for true well-being.
So we've got feeling good and being totally engrossed in activities we love.
You got it.
What's next in this recipe for flourishing?
Next comes our relationships.
Ah, the relationships.
This one's pretty fundamental.
I mean, we are social creatures after all.
Exactly. We crave connection, belonging, and love.
No man is an island, right?
Exactly. But wait, isn't this where things could get a little tricky?
How so?
Because having lots of friends on social media doesn't automatically mean you have strong relationships.
Good point.
Right.
Right? It's not about the quantity of relationships, but the quality.
Okay, so quality over quantity.
It's about having those close, supportive connections where you feel truly seen, understood, and valued.
So it's about nurturing those deep, meaningful bonds.
With family, friends, partners, even colleagues.
Absolutely. Got it. What about the M? What does that stand for?
Let me guess, is it money?
Not quite, although I'm sure financial security contributes to well-being.
Right.
M stands for meaning.
Meaning,
It's about that sense of purpose we all crave.
that feeling of belonging to or serving something larger than ourselves.
Exactly.
So it could be your faith, your family, your community, a cause you believe in.
Anything that gives you that sense of why you're here and what your contribution is.
I like it. I like it. And that sense of meaning, it can be a powerful driver of well-being.
Couldn't agree more. It helps us get through tough times and gives our lives a sense of direction.
Okay, I'm loving this PERMA model. It's like we're building a blueprint for a fulfilling life.
Right.
What's the final element?
The final piece of the puzzle is A for accomplishment.
Accomplishment. I knew it had to be in there somewhere.
This one's about setting goals, striving to achieve them, and experiencing that sense of satisfaction when you do.
Ah, that feeling of reaching a milestone or mastering a new skill.
Or finally finishing that project you've been working on.
There's definitely a sense of fulfillment that comes with accomplishment.
Totally. But does it always have to be some big, splashy achievement?
Not at all.
Okay, good.
Seligman emphasizes that accomplishments can be big or small, public or private.
So like what?
It could be as simple as learning a new recipe, completing a challenging workout, or finally cleaning out that cluttered closet.
I love that.
But the point is that striving towards something and achieving it no matter how big or small contributes to our sense of well-being.
Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, each of these perma elements contributes to our overall well-being,
You got it.
but they also work together, right?
Absolutely. That's the beauty of this model.
Yeah.
It's not just a collection of individual elements.
But a system.
It's an interconnected system. They all feed into and reinforce each other, creating a virtuous cycle of flourishing.
This is all fascinating.
I know, right?
But I have to admit, I'm a bit of a pragmatist.
Okay.
So while I love the theory, I'm also wondering,
What's that?
how do we actually put this perma thing into practice? Does Seligman give us any concrete tools or strategies?
He does. And that's what makes Flourish so compelling. He doesn't just lay out a theory.
Okay, good.
He provides practical exercises and techniques that anyone can use to cultivate these Burma elements in their own lives.
Okay, give me some examples. What are some of these actionable steps towards flourishing?
One of the simplest and most effective exercises he suggests is the 3 good things practice.
Very good things.
It's about taking a few minutes each day to write down 3 good things that happened
Yeah.
and reflect on why they occurred.
Sounds like a great way to train your brain to focus on the positive,
Yeah.
even on those days when it feels like everything's going wrong.
Exactly. It helps shift your perspective and cultivate a sense of gratitude,
Gratitude.
which directly ties into the P-positive emotion in PERMA.
Makes sense. And it's surprisingly powerful, huh?
It really is.
What other tools does he offer?
He also talks a lot about identifying and utilizing your signature strengths.
Hold on, signature strengths.
Yeah.
I think we need to unpack that a bit.
Yeah.
What exactly are those, and how do we know what ours are?
Imagine those things you do effortlessly, almost without thinking, that leave you feeling fulfilled and energized.
Okay.
Maybe you're a natural problem solver, a creative thinker, or someone who's incredibly empathetic and compassionate.
I can see that.
Those are your signature strengths.
Okay, I'm starting to see the picture. It's like
Mm.
those innate talents or qualities that make you, well, you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But how do these signature strengths tie into flourishing?
Good question.
Well, Seligman argues that when we identify and actively use our signature strengths in our daily lives, we're more likely to experience flow,
Okay.
boost our positive emotions, build stronger relationships, and even find a sense of meaning and accomplishment.
So it's not just about knowing what you're good at, but about finding ways to express those strengths authentically.
Yes, in your work, your relationships, and your everyday activities.
Okay. This is starting to feel less like theory and more like a practical roadmap to a better life.
It is. And the cool thing is there are assessments and exercises you can use to help you identify your signature strengths.
That's great. But before we get too carried away with all the positive stuff, what about the challenges?
Yeah, life isn't always easy, right?
Definitely not.
Right. And Seligman doesn't shy away from that. He acknowledges that life is full of ups and downs, setbacks, and unexpected curveballs.
So true.
His point is that these perma elements, they don't just help us feel good when things are going well.
Okay.
They can actually help us navigate those difficult times more effectively.
So it's like building up a resilience reserve.
Exactly.
We're not trying to avoid challenges altogether, but equipping ourselves to handle them better when they inevitably arise.
Exactly. And Seligman talks a lot about the importance of optimism and resilience in this context.
Okay.
But he's quick to point out that optimism doesn't mean being naive or unrealistic about the challenges we face.
So it's not about putting on rose-colored glasses and pretending everything's perfect.
Right.
What is it about then?
It's more about having a belief in your ability to influence outcomes, even when things get tough.
I see.
It's about recognizing that setbacks are a part of life, but they don't have to define us.
So it's about that sense of agency,
Yes.
that feeling that you're not just a passive victim of circumstance,
Right.
but that you have some control over how you respond to those circumstances.
Exactly. And resilience is that ability to bounce back from those setbacks,
Okay.
to adapt and grow from those experiences, and to maintain your well-being even in the face of adversity.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all ties together.
Yeah.
Building positive emotions, finding flow, nurturing relationships, connecting to meaning, and striving for accomplishment. These all contribute to a more resilient and fulfilling life.
It all comes together.
But I'm still wondering, how do we actually build resilience?
Good question.
Is it something we're just born with, or can we actually learn to be more resilient?
That's a great question. And Seligman believes resilience is a skill that can be developed and strengthened over time.
So we can learn it.
We can. He even dives into some specific techniques like cognitive behavioral therapy, or CDT for short.
CBT.
Yeah.
That rings a bell. But to be honest, I'm a little fuzzy on how it actually works.
Sure.
Could you break that down for me?
Think about it this way. We all have these automatic thoughts that pop into our heads,
Especially when we're stressed.
especially when we're stressed or facing a challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Often these thoughts are negative,
Like what?
like, I'm gonna fail, or I'm not good enough.
I know those thoughts.
CBT helps us recognize those negative thought patterns and then challenge them.
So it's like becoming aware of that inner critic and then questioning those negative assumptions. But how do we actually challenge those thoughts? I mean, what if they're true?
That's the key. CBT encourages us to look for evidence that supports or contradicts those thoughts.
Evident.
Yeah, often we'll find that those negative thoughts are based on distorted thinking or assumptions that aren't actually true. And by recognizing this, we can start to reframe those thoughts in a more balanced and realistic way.
So instead of getting caught in a spiral of negativity, we can step back, examine the evidence, and come up with a more helpful and empowering perspective.
Exactly.
I like that.
And remember, cultivating strong relationships can also be a powerful buffer against stress and adversity.
How so?
When we have those close connections, those people we can confide in and rely on, it helps us feel supported and less alone in our struggles.
Like a support system.
Exactly. It's like that saying, it's easier to weather the storm when you've got someone holding your hand.
I like that.
And Seligman really emphasizes that those supportive relationships are crucial for building resilience and navigating life's challenges.
You know, it's interesting. We've been talking a lot about individual well-being.
Right.
But you mentioned earlier that Seligman also explores the societal impact of flourishing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Can you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. Seligman argues that when individuals flourish, it creates a ripple effect that benefits families, communities, and even society as a whole.
Okay.
He believes that promoting well-being is not just good for individuals, but good for everyone.
Okay, I'm intrigued. But I have to admit, I'm a bit skeptical.
Really?
How can individual happiness really lead to societal change? It seems like a big leap.
Well, he provides some pretty compelling examples.
Like what?
Remember those school programs we talked about earlier?
The ones that integrate teachings on resilience, optimism, and emotional regulation?
Yes, those ones.
Yeah, those are pretty impressive. But how does that scale up to a societal level?
Think about it. If more and more young people are equipped with these skills, they're likely to become more resilient adults who are better able to cope with stress, build healthy relationships, and contribute positively to their communities.
So it's like a long-term investment in a more flourishing society.
Exactly. And the potential benefits extend beyond schools. Imagine workplaces that prioritize employee well-being and actively cultivate these PERMA elements.
That sounds nice.
It could lead to increased productivity, creativity, job satisfaction, and even lower healthcare costs.
Happy and fulfilled employees are likely to be more engaged and productive for sure. But what about the flip side? Are there any potential downsides or criticisms of this focus on flourishing?
That's a really important question. And to Seligman's credit, he doesn't shy away from those potential criticisms.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are some of the concerns people have raised?
Well, one concern is that this emphasis on individual happiness and well-being could lead to a neglect of systemic issues and social injustices.
So the worry is that it could become all about me and my own happiness while ignoring the larger societal problems that need to be addressed.
That's one way to put it. And to be fair, it's a valid concern.
Yeah, I can see that.
But Seligman is careful to emphasize that flourishing is not just about individual fulfillment.
Okay, good.
It's about creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive, which includes addressing those systemic issues that create barriers to well-being.
So it's about acknowledging that individual and systemic factors are interconnected. We can't just focus on one without the other.
You got it. And another potential challenge is that the pursuit of well-being can sometimes feel overwhelming,
How so?
especially in a culture that often glorifies busyness and achievement.
Yeah, it's like we're bombarded with messages about what we should be doing to be happy and successful, which can create a lot of pressure and even a sense of inadequacy.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why Seligman emphasizes the importance of self-compassion and acceptance in this whole process.
Self-compassion. Okay.
Flourishing isn't about being perfect or achieving some elusive state of constant bliss. It's about progress, not perfection.
So it's about embracing those imperfections, acknowledging those limitations, and celebrating the small victories along the way. Because let's be real, we're all a work in progress.
Absolutely. And it's about recognizing that well-being is a lifelong journey, not a destination.
Sure.
There will be ups and downs, challenges and triumphs. It's about continuing to move forward, to learn and grow, and to cultivate those habits and mindsets that support our thriving.
This has been such a fascinating exploration of Seligman's work.
I've really enjoyed it.
But before we wrap up, I'm
What's
curious,
that?
what struck you most about Flourish?
Hmm.
What were some of the key takeaways that really resonated with you?
What I find most compelling is how Seligman bridges that gap between scientific research and practical application. He doesn't just present theories, he provides concrete tools and techniques that we can actually use to enhance our well-being in tangible ways.
Yeah, I agree. It's not just an academic exercise. It's about taking these ideas and applying them to our real lives to create real change.
Good.
And he does it in such an engaging and accessible way. It's not dry or overly intellectual. It's filled with real-life stories and examples that make these concepts relatable and even inspiring.
I love that about his writing.
Yeah, me too. And I think what ultimately makes Flourish so powerful is its message of hope and empowerment.
Oh, for sure.
It reminds us that we have a choice in how we shape our lives, and that well-being is within our reach. It's not something that just happens to us. It's something we actively cultivate.
We have the power.
And that's a powerful message to carry with us as we navigate the complexities of life. So for our listener who's been on this journey with us, absorbing all these insights, what would you say is the one nugget of wisdom, the one key takeaway you'd want them to remember from our deep dive into Flourish?
Well, I think it all boils down to this well-being. It's within our grasp.
It is.
It really is. It's not some elusive state reserved for a lucky few or, those with perfect lives.
Right.
It's something we can all cultivate
We can.
starting today, no matter what our circumstances are.
I love that. It's like a message of hope and empowerment. We're not just passive passengers,
We're in the driver's seat.
On this journey of life, we're the drivers, and we have the power to steer ourselves towards a more fulfilling existence.
You got it. And it doesn't require some radical overhaul or, waiting for the perfect moment.
Okay, good,
But yeah,
because
it's about those small, consistent actions,
the small things.
those daily choices that align with our values and support our well-being.
So it's not about waiting for life to magically become easy or stress-free.
No, not at all. It's about embracing the present moment with all its challenges and imperfections and making choices that help us thrive even amidst the ups and downs.
Because there will be ups and downs.
There will be. It's about remembering that flourishing is a journey, not a destination.
Oh, I like that.
There will be setbacks, there will be moments of doubt and frustration.
Sure.
But it's about learning from those experiences, adjusting course, and continuing to move forward on that path towards a richer, more meaningful life.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Flourish, I'm curious, what's one thing you'd like to leave our listener with? What's that one question, that one thought that might spark some further reflection or even action?
I'd ask them to consider this. Which element of PERMA resonates most strongly with you right now?
Ooh, that's a good one. Is it the need for more positive emotions, deeper engagement, stronger relationships, a greater sense of meaning, or perhaps a desire for more accomplishment?
What's calling to you the most?
And building on that, what's one small step, even something tiny you can take today to start cultivating that element in your own life?
I think that's a great place to leave it. Because remember, even the smallest actions can create ripples of change.
They can.
So choose one thing, commit to it, and see where it leads you.
Such great advice. This has been such an insightful and inspiring conversation. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Flourish. And to our listener, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep flourishing.